Hey guys, looks like it's beer 30. Let's go see what's in the fridge today.
Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today I do appreciate you stopping by. Look at this great big corked and caged bottle here, guys. This is another one that I dug out of the cellaring fridge downstairs. This is the 2013 edition of this beer. And when I went to Untapped and looked up for this particular year, they didn't have it listed, so I had to go with the regular version of this beer. A little disappointed that they didn't have this particular beer from year to year to year like they typically do. So we have to do the generic version of Untapped on this particular beer. It is an 11%er, like I said. These guys at Allagash are up in Maine. 11% it's saying, and 27 IBUs from Untapped. It says first brewed back in 2004, and I'm pronouncing it Curieux, Curieux, was our initial foray. I'm going to call it Curieux. If that's not right, I apologize. This is our initial foray into barrel aging. To make Curieux, we take our triple and let it age in bourbon barrels for 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know if that's going to be long enough. Seems to be a waste to put a beer in a bourbon barrel for only 6 to 8 weeks. And then discard those barrels. I would hope they would not be putting beer in it again, because you're going to lose a lot of those bourbon notes. I would think this beer would need to be in there several months. But I'm not the brewer, so it is what it is. Once that time is up, we take the beer out of our cold cellars and blend it back with a portion of fresh triple. The resulting rich golden ale features smooth notes of coconut, vanilla, and a hint of bourbon. Well, it's only in there 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be a very small hint as far as I'm concerned. So we got the ABV, we got the vintage, and we got the IBU. So it is time. Let's see if I can get the cork out of this thing, and hopefully it don't spew all over the place. It's been in the fridge downstairs for a long time, since probably 2013. So let's see if I can get this thing to move. Oh yeah, it's going to come out. Ooh, it's coming out quick too. This thing, a lot of pressure. I hope it don't spew all over the place. Here we go. Nice pop. Nah, it's going to stay in the bottle. Yay! Guys, I've had some bad experiences on cork beers before. Anybody who's followed me for a while has seen that happen. So, into the glass we're going to go, and we're going to pour it down the center. And that may not be a good thing with the pressure that was on. I'm going to ease that pour up just a little bit here, because I don't want 5 fingers of head on this beer. And we'll stand it up on the back end here just to get a little bit more head generated. Just like that. Yeah. That's the way you do it. Nice finger of head. It is a nice amber color, perfectly clear. And I don't know if there's any sediment in the bottle. When we pour the other half into her glass, when I come back I'll tell you if it clouded hers up quite a bit. But the top part of the pour is very clear, nice amber color. Nice soapy white head in the bubbles. Very good looking beer. To the nose we go. And just as I suspected, guys, I don't think, personally in my opinion, I don't think they left it in the barrels long enough. 6 to 8 weeks is not long enough to get that strong bourbon note. And that's what I like. If I'm paying extra for a bourbon barrel beer, I want it to have those notes. And they shouldn't have faded completely out, being in the bottle. I'm getting a nice Belgian yeast characteristic. A slight hint of vanilla and coconut, not a lot, very subtle. The Belgian yeast is standing out more than anything else. A little bit of maltiness. Of course, like I said, it's cold right out of the fridge. We may get some pears or apples or something like that in it as it warms up, which we will do. We always do. But the bourbon notes are very lacking. Like I said, I don't think it's been in the barrels long enough, in my humble opinion. And maybe they're reusing the barrels. I don't know. So, smells like a nice triple. Not getting the bourbon notes. So let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers, everybody. The bourbon is not there, guys. So this would probably not be one you'd want to cellar, in my opinion. The bourbon notes might have been a little more prominent when it was fresh in 2013 than what I am getting now. But only being in the barrel 6 to 8 weeks, I think they could do better than that. Allagash can make some really tasty beers. And if they're going to charge you more for a bourbon barrel-aged beers, I want to taste it, and I am not. So that's probably going to cost them a grade point. I'm giving 0 bourbon notes. 0. So that's a little disappointing. If I was to pick up another one of these, I would not cellar it. Drink it fresh. It is very smooth. The alcohol is very well hidden. But the bourbon notes are non-existent right now on this one. So we're going to let it come up to room temperature, sip on it for a little while, and we'll see where she ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. I've been sitting on it about 45 minutes to an hour now. Nice thing is left on the glass. It is a very tasty beer. It's a well-made beer. The other half of the bottle was poured into her glass, and it was very cloudy. A lot of sediment in the bottom of the bottle. Mine was a whole lot clearer than hers was. The bourbon notes are basically non-existent, guys. If you've got one of these cellaring, you probably ought to drink it ASAP. I would, to be honest with you, it's a well-made beer, but when I see it written on the front label, bourbon barrel aged, I expect to taste that, and I am not. So if you've got one of these, you probably ought to drink it as fresh as possible to get those bourbon notes, since they only leave it in the bourbon barrels for 6 to 8 weeks. And in my humble, honest opinion, that is not long enough, especially if they're reusing the barrels over and over and over to put beer in. That doesn't work either. So I'm not a head brewer at a brewery or anything, but I know from the experience that I've had with the beers that I've had, a lot of these places leave these beers in a barrel for a year or longer. I'm not saying this one needs to be in there that long. Maybe it does if it's a second run barrel. It's had beer in it before. But I think to get the bourbon notes, and that's what you're paying for, having the bourbon barrel aging written right on the front label in big letters, if you, like I said, if you've got one of these, you probably ought to drink it. That's where I'm going to put that, because the bourbon barrel will, if it was there when it was fresh, it is not there now. So that's the bottom line, guys. It should be drank fresh if you want to get those bourbon notes. And still, I'm not saying you still might not get them if they're only leaving in the barrels that long, especially if they're second run barrels or third or fourth or fifth run barrels had beer in them before. You're just not going to get those big prominent bourbon notes, and that may be what they were after. They didn't want the bourbon overpowering anything else. But if I'm paying extra for it and it says bourbon barrel on it, I want to taste it, and I am not. So probably would not buy this beer again, even though it's a nice, well-made beer. I want to taste those bourbon notes if I'm paying extra for that and it has it written on the label. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Final chug. The Belgian yeast is there, very prominent. Maybe a hint of some pears or apples in there. A very nice beer. Alcohol is well hidden. It's a well-made beer, except for the bourbon notes. Final chug. Tasty beer. Tasty beer. As far as I'm concerned, they could leave the bourbon barrel aged notes off the front of it, because I'm not getting them now. And I wouldn't think they would have faded that much, but they could have. They could have. So, with that being said, I probably, if I bought another one of these, I would drink it fresh, just to see if the bourbon notes were there. And if I had one in the fridge somewhere, I would get it out and drink it. whether it's been in there a year, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever, or longer, because I'm not getting them on this one. So let's run. Guys, I am so disappointed not to get any bourbon notes on this one. A- for me, guys. 90. That's where I'm going to put this. Over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 4.28 and outstanding. I'm not going there. That's a little bit better grade than I would give it right now for this particular beer that I'm drinking. Now, the 2018 or 2019, I don't know when they put these in the bottles, might be a little bit better. A little more bourbon notes than what I am getting, but it did not sell as well as I was hoping it was going to. So, over to Untapped, they have it at 4.06. That's about where I would agree with that. That is in the A- scale. So, it is what it is. So, if you've got it, you may want to drink it now. But it is a tasty beer, guys. I will say nice Belgian yeast qualities to it. And everything that goes with that other than the bourbon notes. So if you've got this or had this, the 2013 edition, recently, let me know what you think. And until we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.